Tottenham Hotspur are currently the most dangerous average team in Europe. They have the £100 million injection, a Europa League trophy in the cabinet, and a squad brimming with Tier 1 talent like Xavi Simons and Mohammed Kudus. Yet, as we sit here in late December 2025, they are stalling. The common consensus is that Spurs need depth. That is wrong. Depth is what you buy when you're winning. When you're struggling, you buy identity. If you watch until the end of this breakdown, I'm going to reveal the 3 specific profiles Thomas Frank is demanding to save this project, including one name that has stayed completely under the radar but holds the key to unlocking the new era at N17. The context here is critical. We are 6 months into the Thomas Frank era. The summer was, on paper, a masterclass. Kudus, Simons and Kolo Muani all arrived, but the transition from Ange ball to Frank's more balanced, high-tempo system hasn't been seamless. Spurs are currently predictable. They are heavily reliant on the right flank, while the left side has become a graveyard for attacking output. Dominic Solanke's injury struggles and the lack of a true metronome in the pivot have left Thomas Frank exposed. The owners have the cash. That £100 million wasn't just for show, but there's a massive catch. One major departure is being whispered about in the corridors of Hotspur Way that could fundamentally change who they can actually bring in. Keep that in mind as we look at the first name on the list. The first and most obvious need is a left-sided attacker. Wilson Odobert and Mathis Tell are brilliant prospects, but they aren't finishers yet. Frank's system requires a winger who doesn't just hug the touchline, but acts as a secondary striker. Omar Marmosh. Yes, I said Omar Marmosh. The links aren't just paper talk. Marmosh offers the verticality Spurs have lost since Son Heung-min's peak years. By bringing in a high-volume shooter on the left, you stop the opposition from double-teaming Kudus on the right. It balances the pitch. But here's the deeper layer. Adding Marmosh isn't just about goals, it's about tactical flexibility. It allows Xavi Simons to move into a permanent number 10 role rather than being forced to drift wide to cover for a lack of pace. However, as good as Marmosh is, he doesn't fix the fundamental reason why Spurs keep losing control of games in the second half. That requires something much rarer. To understand the second signing, we have to look at the engine room. Yves Bissouma is likely out this January, and while Archie Bray and Lucas Bergvall are the future, they are currently being asked to do too much too soon. The hidden factor here is ball progression under pressure. In the Premier League right now, if you can't bypass the first line of the press, you're dead. This is why Spurs are hot on Adam Wharton. Tactical consequence, Wharton is the anti-chaos factor. He doesn't just pass, he dictates. Under Thomas Frank, Spurs need a player who can sit in front of Mickey van Deven and Christian Romero and offer a release valve. Squad balance, signing Wharton allows Pape Matar Sarr to become the destroyer he's meant to be, rather than forcing him to be a playmaker. The long-term play, this isn't a short-term fix, it's a 10-year solution. But even with Marmosh and Wharton, there is one gaping hole left by the Ange ball hangover. Pedro Porro is being run into the ground, and Destiny Udogi's injury record is becoming a genuine concern. If one of them goes down in February, the season is over, which leads us to the defining question. The defining question for Daniel Levy and Thomas Frank this January is this: do you gamble on a specialist or do you invest in a Swiss Army knife? Spurs are currently one injury away from a defensive collapse. They have Radu Dragusin, yes, but they lack a versatile defender who can play across the back four without a drop in quality. The risk of signing a big-name striker like Samu Agahewa, who has an £87 million release clause, is that it eats the entire budget and leaves the defence dangerously thin. If you choose the striker, you're betting that you can outscore your problems. If you choose the defender, you're betting on the system. It is a choice between Vegas football and title-challenging stability. Which one does this squad actually need to survive the next 4 months? My final verdict, the third and vital signing isn't a striker. It's Murillo or a similar high-mobility centre-back who can cover left-back. To save the season, Tottenham must prioritise Marmosh, Wharton and a versatile defender. Without these three, the new era will look exactly like the old one, flashes of brilliance followed by a predictable collapse. Watch for the Yves Bissouma exit. If he goes to Juventus, it triggers the Wharton move immediately. But I want to hear from you. Is Thomas Frank right to move on from Dominic Solanke as his primary focal point, or is the midfield where the real Spursy problems live? Would you like me to break down the specific stats that make Adam Wharton the perfect partner for Xavi Simons?